Hello, this is Kevin Benedict, SMAC Analyst with Cognizant, and SMAC's the acronym for Social, Mobile, Analytics, and Cloud. I have the privilege of spending time with Bill Moylan. Bill, thanks for joining us today.
Glad to, Kevin, especially in this beautiful context in the
I know it.
area.
We're here at one of Trump's new resorts right outside of Miami called, what is it called?
Doral.
Yep.
Doral.
Doral or Doral?
The Doral Resort.
Got it.
Yep.
The only challenge is, I think, 3/4 of it's under construction, but hey, it's a beautiful, our part's beautiful.
Exactly. It's gorgeous out here.
So Bill, you work for ClickSoftware.
Yep.
What's your role?
I'm the Global VP of Alliances, so I handle all of our strategic partnerships with companies such as Cognizant, SAP, IBM, and other people like that.
Very cool. You guys at Click, I hear a lot of reference to context-aware mobile apps.
Yes.
What do you guys, what's your vision of context-aware mobile apps, and what does that mean to you, and what should we learn from that?
Well, it's a great question. So context-aware to us means understanding where the technician is in his process, the process of repairing or delivering something. We call it the butler. So the butler is the intelligent assistant that helps the technician complete his job in an efficient manner and prompts him for things that he may have forgotten. So let's say, for example, he goes out into, he's going to a customer site, and the customer wants to call 15 minutes before he gets there so they can come down, open the door, get through security. So the butler will notify the technician dynamically that he should call the customer 15 minutes ahead of time. Based on his GPS location, now it can notify him when he gets to within 15 minutes. So we know where the customer is, we know where he is, and we know that entire context. It'll notify him. He can hit the call button, call the customer saying, I'm 15 minutes away, come down and meet me, and I look forward to working with you.
So this would be almost what you would refer to as like an agent.
Exactly.
So a code or a set of scripts that are always pinging and looking for what it knows about what you're going to need.
Exactly.
And then doing queries on your behalf, making calls even on your behalf.
Potentially,
so,
yes.
yeah. So,
And
because if you're going to be late because the job before it took too long,
exactly,
then this agent or this butler, Click Butler, would say, okay, he's going to be late, so I need to. What are my instructions about when a service tech is late?
Well, so that's configurable. Obviously,
Yeah.
we've built some pre-configured ones that
Yeah.
we see most of our customers using, and we can use with our communications module, any method that you want to communicate. So say you want to, this customer A wants to be notified via email. Customer B wants a phone call. Customer C wants a text. So with our communications model, the butler can use the most efficient or most preferred method to communicate that information, saying, I'm going to be 15 minutes late because I'm running late. Can you please delay our appointment for another hour or another 15 minutes, whatever the time allocation is. So we have a number of these pre-configured butlers that will do a number of different things to help optimize the technician's route and, more importantly, notify the customer so you keep that customer satisfaction at a very high level.
That is very cool. So we talked about it in terms of scheduling. What else can you configure that butler to do in the area of context awareness?
Let's say, for example, you're in a hazardous environment and you have a number of safety procedures. And so you've had some problems in the past where the technician did not adhere to all the safety rules, and you have compliance issues now with the regulatory commission. So the butler can now make sure that notify the technician to perform these 3 steps, say the utility, lock it out, tag out the area before he begins any work. So the butler can be, again, very context aware of what he needs to do, make sure he does those jobs, so now you're in compliance. Now, more importantly, it's a safe environment for that person to work in, so that you know that the job is going to be done successfully and safely. And we've seen some things out with, PG&E and MG&E where there's been some gas line explosions. We don't know why those occurred. They're obviously investigating them, but we can make sure from a compliance perspective that we've met every single one of them.
Wow.
So it's very important for safety and obviously cost savings. You don't want to have any kind of disaster.
I've been in the enterprise mobility space for many years, and it's so interesting to watch the evolution of these apps. When we started, we were building simple store and forward kinds of things. We had mobile forms where you could do surveys and assessments and inspections on basic forms. But the forms didn't know anything. They're just forms and databases underneath, right?
Correct. Right.
So now we're building these agents, these context-aware things that understand the business processes,
Yep.
your location.
Yep.
It can understand the weather. It can understand least cost routing.
Exactly.
It understands your skill levels,
Yep.
your qualifications,
Mhm.
your schedules, your
Certifications.
holidays, your vacations, your hours of work.
Yeah. We even give you the ability, with the supervisor can actually rate his technician's work on a certain task, so we can help you rate those tasks. And let's say you're a oil and gas company, and you
Yeah.
have a $100,000 drill bit,
Yeah.
and you only want a certain crew to work with that drill bit. You want to have a guy that's experienced. We can make sure that you only assign a certain crew, and we can route by crew as well as report on crews.
Yeah.
Make sure they're the only ones that can touch that $100,000 drill bit. So now you're optimizing your assets, and you're making sure those assets are used properly and efficiently, because you're using the right people with the right tool.
I love it. It's like taking the old Model Ts where you would manually start them, manually do everything,
Yep.
and now my car, I'm driving a Mazda CX-9.
Nice.
It tells me when somebody's behind me. It tells me when somebody's beside me. It's adding context to all these things, which makes my job easier.
Exactly.
And I need it because I'm getting older and it's harder to drive.
The other thing we're seeing, is, you pick up a great point, we're not seeing mobile apps in isolation anymore.
Yeah.
We used to see, as you mentioned, form-based mobile apps. Now we're seeing the context-aware mobile apps, but they're in conjunction with the work process that the person is doing, so that we understand now, again, where he's at. We can take that mobile app on any device, any HTML5 device. We can build work process and workflow on that device. We can use big buttons. So say he's in a harsh environment where he has gloves on and big fat fingers. He can push the start button and doesn't have to worry about things until he comes up with a part. Push another big button. We can configure those to make it contextual for the work environment, and that flows through the entire process. So now when he's done, we can actually close out that job and also prompt him for another set of information. Let's say he's now has to go get a sign-off, so we can do the signature capture right there on the device. That's old, but in conjunction with everything else, it's really kind of nice. And that entire Click does the entire workflow for that technician from start to finish, and giving him supervisor information.
That's really interesting because you and I both sat in on a session on mobile app design this morning, where they were talking about the behavior or the context in which somebody's using a tablet. Their behavior is different than when they're using a mobile device or a desktop.
Absolutely.
And so you're taking that same concept to a different business process.
Yep.
You may have 6 different business processes in which you're involved in.
Yep.
But you had different behaviors in each one of those.
And think about if you're sitting at a desktop, there's no concept of start and stop.
Yeah.
But when you're in a work environment in the field, that's all you think about is start and stop. You want to start your job, get it done, and move on to the next job. So that's, again, where the mobile applications have gone to is really context and aware of what that person's doing. It's really significant.
Absolutely. Well, Bill, I want to thank you so much for sharing your expertise with all of us.
Thanks, Kevin. I appreciate the time.
Yeah.